Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our STR Partner Live Destination Update Volume 2. My name is Petra. I'm Director of Sales from STR Destination, and I'm very happy that I have partners with me today from Héliades DMC, Greece, from Vacation Malta, from Magic France, and Magic Roads from Armenia and Georgia. But before we start with the latest updates about these beautiful destinations, I would like to give you some information about STR Destination Handling. We got founded in the year 1980, and I would say we are one of the most established sales and marketing offices in the German-speaking region. We will offer you 30 selected incoming agencies, and they have over 70 destinations worldwide in their portfolio. So you see, you have a lot of beautiful destinations which you can explore with us. But today we will start with Greece, our journey, and I'm very happy that Ludovicos, Director Sales Manager from Héliades DMC Greece, is with us, and he will provide you the latest updates about Greece. Hi, Ludovicos. Are you with us?
Hello, Petra. Yes, I'm here. You're hearing
Great.
well.
So nice having you with us. And please, just start with your presentation. If I'm a little bit too slow, just let me know about the slides. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, too. It's a really nice photo that you've put there. We are coming into the summer mind. Really nice. So let's start with Héliades DMC. First of all, Héliades DMC is a DMC in Greece, which occupies for all land services within the country. Everything that you can imagine, from transfers, accommodation, transfers with boats, private cruise, and everything. We are doing that. So we are on your disposal for Greece. Let's start with the first slide. Thank you very much. What is the entry regulations for our country before arrival in Greece? As you may see, for vaccinated travelers, we just need a vaccination certificate, and that's fine. You enter. Really easy, you explore our country. Then for non-vaccinated, it's a bit tricky. You have, first of all, to provide a PCR test, a negative PCR test, 72 hours before arrival, or a rapid test, which is up to 48 hours. These documents, you have to provide them to the authorities entering the country in order to allow you to explore again Greece. Important point is that all passengers, they may have a test, an antigen test in the airport. It's picking from the authorities. They will pick it up and they will do a antigen test when arriving at the airport. So let's go to the next slide, please. So we have upon arrival in Greece. As you may see, the QR code generated by the PLF received by an email will need to be shown to the authorities, as I told you. Every traveler who arrives, regardless of the certificate, is the rapid test that I told you that they may picked up, and they have to do it in the airport in order to enter in the country. If you found positive, then you will have to do a 14 days quarantine in a hotel that the government has rented in order to stay there until the time that you will not have any more symptoms. And in order to be allowed to exit this hotel, you will need to do again a PCR test. If a passenger is not feeling well, then the health check authorities, they have to bring them again in the hotel, in this hotel, take a PCR test, waiting the results, and then if it's negative, you go out. If it's positive, you have to stay for quarantine. Please. Now, the most important part, by the time that you enter, is what you do during your stay. If you're fully vaccinated, everything is fine. You keep your vaccination certificate with you, you get also your ID, and you're entering all places. But for those who are not vaccinated, you have to do every 2 days an antigen test in order to enter to bars only in the exterior areas, not in the interior. When it's interior, during, for sure, now we are in winter, so it's a bit cold outside. For the exterior, you may enter with this test. For the interior, it's not allowed for any unvaccinated person to enter. It's strictly note, as you may see here, you cannot enter neither to cinemas, neither to theaters, but you can enter in bars, for example, in the exterior, in restaurants in the exterior area. This is allowed. And you may see that in all interior areas, there's a strong entry restriction for all non-vaccinated. In retail shops, even if it's interior, with a certificate of a COVID test, of antigen COVID test, or a PCR of 72 hours, yes, there you can enter. In grocery shops, in supermarkets, in pharmacies, there is no need of a test. So it's free entry for everyone. In hotels, they may ask you to provide a 48 hours COVID test only the first day if you are not vaccinated, and then you continue your life inside the hotels as before. No other restriction within your stay. Please. Oh, great. As you can see there on my presentation, only vaccinated people are allowed to enter in museums, conference centers, cinemas, stadiums, and gyms. This has been established since last week. The maximum number of participants per bus is 85%. The scheduled ferries are operating with 85% too. Daily cruise is operating with maximum capacity of 80%. So it's a bit different from the ferries because it's smaller boats, but also in the big cruises the same. If a group is considered from 40 people and more, this is important. If you think about groups, about group requests, now what is the norm is that if a group is considered from 40 people and more, then it's mandatory for the group to separate, which means that if we have 50 people, we will have to do one bus with 30, one with 20 people inside, and 2 guides. This is important on our calculations. And by every for every client that comes to us and asks us with respect to big groups over 40, we inform them with the current norm. If that changes, that's fine for next season. But for now, we have to think about this. For people traveling within Greece during their stay by boat or plane, they have to show again a vaccination certificate. But those who are not vaccinated, they have to show the 48 hours negative rapid test or a PCR test of 72 hours before their arrival. Thank you. Great. And now it's a time to leave. We experienced Greece, really nice. And we have to leave. If you travel to EU and you have an EU COVID green pass, the certificate, your vaccination certificate, you just apply, you just fulfill the form of the PLF form, and you may leave. If you don't have the vaccination, again, it's the same norm: 48 hours COVID rapid COVID test, or a 72 hours before departure, you have to do the PCR test. It's highly recommended because we are not aware of all the world how it's going. It's highly recommended to contact the airline in order to give you more details about the destination you're traveling to. Most hotels and resorts have facilities in Greece where you can take the PCR or the antigen test, or they are collaborating with some private laboratories, which they can give you also a better rate compared to if you go direct there, and of course to facilitate you with a transfer to this laboratory. Thank you. So things are going like this at the moment. Hopefully summer will be even better. So don't think about it. Try to think only about your holidays, about summer period. It will come. We are strong and we are here to serve you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for these updates. And If you have any questions, please use the chat box and we will answer all the questions at the end of all presentations. So Ludovicus, please be so kind and stay with us until the end. And we will continue with our partner from Malta, which is Kenneth, Managing Director from Vacation Malta. Hello, Kenneth. Are you with us?
Well, I hope so.
Yes, we can see you.
Good.
So nice to have you
and
with
you
us.
can hear me, I believe.
Yes,
Good.
perfectly. Would be great if you could give us your latest updates about Malta.
So, first of all, good morning and thanks for joining. Yes, as Petra said, I am the Managing Director of Vacations Malta Limited, which is a very established DMC here in Malta. We've been going on for over 23 years now, it's 24 years. And we are also offering like a one-stop shop service for all the requirements that you can have in Malta, starting from accommodation, of course, transfers, all types of excursions, tailor-made or general ones, active excursions, dinner, team dinner events, evenings. So we are here to provide all the services in a one-stop shop, with a one-stop shop ideal. This meeting is, to normally tell you about the current situation on the island. So let me start by saying that the situation here in Malta is, I would say, under the circumstances, as normal as it can be, as I said, under the circumstances. To put it in a nutshell, here in Malta, the checking is very strict when you are entering the island, but once you make it, once you enter the island, then life is pretty much normal. Just to give you a little bit to start off with the current situation within Malta itself, the number of infections that we are finding is there. It's not going away. It's quite stable. When I wrote this report 3 days ago, I would say it was stable with around 50 to 60 daily cases on average. But the number of deaths, thank God, has been very, very, very low since Malta, since the people of Malta starting taking their vaccinations. Practically, I could say that all the people in Malta who wanted to get vaccinated are already vaccinated with the 2 doses. As you can see on the slide, we had administered about 950,000 vaccinations. And when you consider that the population in Malta, including the expats, is about 500,000 people. So as you can see from the figures, you could say that all those who wanted to take their double vaccination have already done so. And until we are speaking, over 110,000 people have even taken their 3rd vaccination. In fact, I have just come to the office from my booster, from my 3rd vaccination. So if I pass out all of a sudden, it's because of the 3rd, it's because of my 3rd vaccination. So basically, as I told you, this equates for well over 90% of the people who are total vaccination. As I said before, life in Malta is very close to normal. All the shops are open. There is no differentiation between between the type of shops and the type of bars and restaurants. All of them are open, and they're open also within regular hours. There are no restrictions about the opening, etc. The use of masks when you are outside on your own or with 2 people is not mandatory. It's only mandatory to use the masks outside when you are in groups or small groups of people. Inside the public places, the masks are necessary, and in the restaurants and bars, they have to be worn until one gets to the table. Maybe we can go to the next slide, please, Petra. So, how do you enter Malta? As I said, entering in Malta is the crux of the whole situation. Here in Malta, you do not enter with a PCR test. You do not enter with an antigen test. Here in Malta, you can only enter if you are over 12 years, when you do have a certificate showing that you have had a double vaccination. Otherwise, you have to have a certificate which shows that you have recovered from COVID, very important, recovered from COVID in the last 6 months, not more than 6 months, and then at least have 1 dose of the vaccination. As I said, this is for people who are for guests who are over 12. For guests who are over 12, guests who are aged between 5 and 12 will require a negative PCR not older than 72 hours. Please do not go for the rapid test for the antigens. In Malta, it's a normal PCR, which is not older than 72 hours. Children less than 5, between 1 and 4, they have absolutely no requirements. Of course, apart from the vaccine certificate, but I think this is all over the world, you have, of course, to fill in the PLF, the personal locator form, which you can download. It's the EU PLF, which you can download from the link that you are seeing. So that are the requirements to enter Malta, which seem to be very strict, which in fact are very strict. And please let me tell you that there is a whole army of health authority people at the airport, and they are checking each and everyone's documents. So one cannot slip through, really and truly, and the documents have to be as they should be. So we can go for the next slide, please. The health authorities are permanently present at the arrivals lounge to check the above mentioned documents for each and every arrival. It is important to note that such scrutiny of documents is done very consistently and very seriously. Thus, your guests are to make sure that they will have all the documents in order. Malta categorizes all the countries. Here we don't have, at the moment at least, we don't have any green, yellow, red. Here in Malta, the countries are categorized is either red or dark red. And I will explain this. Entry to Malta from the red category countries is following the instructions that I have already given you. And when those instructions are followed, when the certificates are, the vaccine certificates and everything is in order, then absolutely no quarantines will be asked. Travelers arriving from the dark red countries, of which there are no in Europe. Dark red countries are all countries which are either in the Far East or Africa. People arriving from there, they will have to quarantine in a hotel which is designated, rented by the health authorities, and it will be against payment. The accepted vaccines by the local health authorities are the EMA approved, the ones that are approved by Europe, which are namely the Pfizer, Astra, Moderna, Janssen, and well, basically those. There's a whole list of vaccine certificates from a lot of countries which are accepted in Malta. So it does not have to be an EU. It does not have to be an EU vaccine certificate. There's a whole list of certificates from all over the world which are accepted. The list is too long to put it on this presentation, so one can see it by clicking on the link that I made, which I presume then Petra can send each and every one of you this presentation so that you will see these lists, which are continuously being updated. We can go to the next. So I'm sorry, I was a little bit too long on the entry requirements, but I know that I'm going to be now much shorter on the requirements when you are holidaying in Malta. Due to the fact that the restrictions to enter are rather strict and meticulously followed, then daily life on a holiday is much easier, allowing one to enjoy the holiday, I could say, to the fullest. Vaccine certificates, then, they do not have to be shown when you go to a bar or restaurant. Bars and restaurants, they are accepting people without checking their vaccine certificates, fully knowing that all the people coming in Malta are anyway fully vaccinated. So you don't have to show your vaccine certificate every time you want to go to a bar or a hotel or a restaurant. The only places where they insist on checking the vaccine certificate is big events such as concerts and things like that, of which not a lot are happening at the moment, as you can imagine. Transportation, all types of transportation, your buses, your minivans, your boats, they are allowed to fill up until 80%. Of course, this figure in the beginning, it started with 50, then it went up to 65, now it's 80%. And as Ludovico was saying, let's say hopefully by the next season, even this restriction will go. So in Malta, when you say buses, normally buses here in Malta, the big buses are the 52-seaters. You know, it's a small island, so we don't have these mega buses. So they can take up to 40, let's say the figure would be 40. So when we are talking about groups which are over 40, we are immediately talking about 2 buses with 2 guides. Although each site, when I say sites, I mean the museum and the sites that you would like to visit, they have their own COVID-19 protocols as to how many people they let in at one go and the social distancing. However, although they have, all of them, they have their own regulations, all the museums and all the attractions are fully open and fully functioning. So we can go to the next slide. So basically, I told you in a way the situation, how it is in Malta. Of course, we will take any questions that you might have. However, to put it again in a nutshell, Malta is very strict when it comes to the entry, but as soon as you make it there, then life is pretty much, at least up till now, life is pretty much normal. And I really do hope to be able to welcome you very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenneth, for these updates about Malta, which looks very good actually to me. So thinking of coming to Malta very soon, because situation is much better there. And we hope to hear this good news also from Nina, Sales and Product Assistant for Magic France in France. Thank you so much for being with us, Nina. And please go ahead and give us your updates about France.
Thank you so much for having me. Do you hear my voice?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect.
And we can see you too.
Okay. So let me tell you about the situation in France. Firstly, I would like to adduce some numbers of statistics. So we have less than 42,000 new cases per day in November, which is like 3 times less than we had in summer. We have very massive vaccination of French citizens. So the French population is very conscious and aware that COVID is kind of dangerous thing. That's why they take really serious measures. And also we have more than 87% that have too short vaccination in France. Mostly it is those are the vaccines which are commonly used in the European Union, and more than 10% already have received a booster, the so-called booster. So we can say that for the moment, France is much more safer country than it was, let's say, in summer. So we are taking measures. And you're eligible for vaccination if you are 12 years old. So I suppose those are the measures which are applied more or less everywhere in the European Union. Next slide, please. So as for the latest update, we have 2 variants, if we are vaccinated or if we are not vaccinated. If you are vaccinated or not vaccinated in any way, you can enter France. So the conditions are not so strict as in Malta, for example, like we previously heard. So if you are vaccinated, you can enter France with a proof vaccination, the so-called health certificate, or to present a PCR test. Attention for Austria and Germany, after age 12, you should present negative PCR tests 24 hours before the flight and not 72 hours as it was previously. And also for Monaco, for example, for the travelers who want to fetch Provence plus Monaco, they also, you know that they do not scan any passports, any documents when you enter Monaco, but when you park the car on the parking, they always check the sanitary passes. So it is important that all our guests have either PCR tests valid or health pass. Also, if you had previously contracted COVID-19, you can present, instead of a negative test, a certificate that you had COVID, which is valid like less than more than 11 days after you had COVID, after you had like negative PCR test, and less than 6 months prior to the date of arrival. Next slide, please. So summing up, all citizens and tourists are very, very welcome in France. We already have done several tours this year. Of course, the dynamic is growing not very fast as it was like in 2019, but still we are growing and growing, and we are hoping to see more and more guests next year. As far as like my personal statistics is concerned, the most popular region is Normandy in Brittany, especially for the German segment, for German market. Next comes, of course, Paris and the Loire castles, and Paris as a totally different region, but mostly for the individual requests. So the health pass is presentation of proof of health security against COVID, and maybe in paper or in digital format. You can show it, for example, on the screen on your phone, but I prefer to protect myself and to have everything print out. So you have to present either proof of full vaccination against COVID-19, which are the vaccines, as I've already said, accepted by France and by mostly European Union, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, all the vaccines which my colleagues previously said before, or a negative PCR test or antigen test within 72 hours. But for Germany and Austria, as I've already told, it's 24 hours. Or a COVID result test less than 11 days, more than 11 days, less than 6 months, like the period between which you have good antibodies. And also the obligation will be applied to young people between the age 12 and 17, so the teenagers, from September 30. Next slide, please. So, as I've already also said, in France, we are very conscious about sanitary measures. I personally had COVID last December. Like 6 months later, I got fully vaccinated, and I'm going to make booster. And like, it's never enough to protect yourself. So please use hydroalcoholic gel, wear a mask. It's not anymore compulsory in the outdoor places like it was in April 2021, but to protect yourself, especially if you are in public transport, if you are in enclosed places, it is compulsory. But in outdoor places, of course, if you are taking meals, for example, on the terrace of a restaurant, it's not obligatory to wear a mask. But if you want to go, for example, in the bathroom of the restaurant, you have to put it on. So you have to have it at hand all the time. Masks have become also compulsory for the children after over 6 years in public transport, and this is already, otherwise you will already have to pay fine of 135 euros. So could you please, yes, thank you. So taking everything and summing up all the points after discussion, I would like to say a few words about where you can take the PCR test if you are not fully vaccinated, but better you will be. So the PCR test can be taken at Charles de Gaulle Airport easily. There is 2 or 3 hours PCR test, so you have to come to the airport a little bit in advance. This service is open from 7 a.m. till 19 p.m. every single day. As for the other regions and as for the other spots, you can always find it on the website. There is a website which is called Dépistage France. You just insert the region where you are located, and it will give you all the possible spots, all the possible pharmacies even, where you can take PCR tests. As far as my practice is concerned, even during a tour of our group in Provence, we managed to find at least 5 places in Aix-en-Provence. The only thing I would like to pay your attention to is that not all of the regions are open for PCR tests. I mean, not all the spots are open for PCR tests on Sundays. But of course, we are always online to take measures to help our guests to make these PCR tests so that they will be safe, first of all, and they could enter any possible spot, any possible venue or museum or whatever during the program and leave safely France. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, yes, I'll be happy to answer them after the end of our discussion.
Thank you so much, Nina, for this update about France. Nice to see that your vaccination rate is so high already, which gives a very good feeling. And as Nina said, if you have any question, please enter it in the chat box and we will answer it later on. And now we will continue with another magic destinations, which is Magic Roads Armenia and Magic Roads Georgia. Sati, very warm welcome to our webinar, country manager from Armenia. And I think it's not Tamuna, no, which is with us, it's Tinatin, right?
It's Tinatin, yes, responsible person for the German market actually, but she will represent in English as requested.
Perfect. Sati, I give the word to you. Please start with your update about Armenia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and it's nice to have you all with us again. It has been quite a long time since we have seen you on board with our destination update live. Here we are again to say that we are safe and sound, standing alive, looking forward to having the travelers soon to the destinations. Actually, the travel season has already finished in Armenia and in Georgia as well, more or less, especially for the European travelers. And we hosted our very few travelers this year, and we're looking forward to having more opportunities for the next year. Though with the current situation, every day the picture is changing. And of course, Armenia is not, sometimes it seems, I had the feeling very often during this 2 years time that there is no COVID in Armenia. And we had the chance to host our colleague from Germany, from STR in Armenia this year. And she said, I will go back and tell everyone there is no COVID in Armenia. That's the feeling people are having while being in our destination. Because I will tell you, it has 2 reasons actually. Because Armenians are trying to see the situation easier, and the restrictions have been lifted quite long ago, since last January, and people have been living their so-called normal life, if we can say so, since the last January, and the events and all kinds of ceremonies have come back long ago. It was because we had very low cases of COVID, but lately we experienced the 4th wave actually because the vaccination level has been quite low, and I think this is one of the reasons. But still, Armenians, they are not that easy, you know, to follow the restrictions, to wear the masks, and to you know, to obey to all the rules imposed by the government. Unlike France, I was also jealous, Nina Jan, when you were talking about France, that around more than 80% of the population is vaccinated. We don't have that here. Actually, it's towards 30% only. And I should say that the most of the numbers increased of the vaccinated people, I mean, for the last 2 months' time. We have the available types of vaccines, Sputnik, Moderna, AstraZeneca. These are the most common, and the Chinese one. These are the most common ones. But because there are different, you know, approaches and rumors for each type, people are hesitant. You know, for example, taking even my parents, they are over 60. But we're not able to persuade them to go and get the vaccination because they don't trust it that much. Of course, this is not that good in a sense. Hopefully, we will have a different picture very soon. But currently, Armenia is on the green list of the travels in general. And we have less than 800 cases per day. So it's getting really down. I would like to talk about what you will need while arriving in Armenia. Actually, both vaccinated and not vaccinated travelers are still allowed to enter the country borders by land or by air. You need to have either vaccination certificate or a valid test valid through the last 72 hours. And if you are vaccinated, the last shot should be taken 14 days before of your departure. So that's not very complicated, actually. We're having this either or, as we call it, option for all the travelers, which makes it easier. No restrictions yet. However, can we have the next slide, dear Petra? However, there are also now rumors that not yet accepted rules, but there are rumors that we might need green passports to enter the public territories from December, but now we are in December and it's not confirmed by the local government yet. The things are happening a bit slower in our country, which to tell the truth, this is making it even, I think, easier for us not to encounter this, you know, mask wearing and restriction-oriented type of life every day on daily basis. So this helps us to deviate a bit from the local, you know, because you have it in the news so much, and on daily basis you don't want to go after this information all the time. So I'm happy that the things are getting more better every day, and we can say that Armenia has now overcome the first wave, and hopefully these new versions, etc., will come and go easier, and the vaccinations will do their work. What can I say in general regarding the, regarding the sanitary measures? It's not mandatory to have the masks in the streets, but in the public areas, in the closed areas, they are. Not in the restaurants. You don't need to have your masks on while traveling within a small group, but in the big buses, you will have to. Actually, the current situation that we have, I'm sure by next season we're going to have totally new rules, and I hope even no rules regarding this, because the season is starting in the country as from late March and April, and currently the things are changing on a daily basis worldwide. And Armenia is trying to follow the standards, but the restrictions are not a way our government thinks that restrictions are not the way that they are going to implement, trying to keep the cases low, etc. So we have to boost the local economics. That's why the government has the decision that however hard it's going to be in general, we will be more flexible with the implementations of the restrictions, which means that currently nothing will change in terms of travel rules to Armenia. Let's see what will come next in the future, and I'm remaining positive. If you have particular questions, please feel free to get back to us later via email or just through STR. You can always find us with our reliable representation.
Thank you so much, Sati, for these updates about Armenia. And let's keep fingers crossed that when the season will start again, it will become much more easier. Thank you so much. And now we will have Tina Tin. She's Sales and Product Specialist from Georgia. Thank you, Tina Tin, for being with us. I hope you can hear us.
Hi.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely great. We can hear and see you. And please go ahead with your presentation.
Great that you hear my voice, because in the beginning I had some technical issues, and now I'm so happy that everything is okay. So Sati was talking about Armenia, and I can tell you that our countries are pretty much alike. So Georgians also take COVID very easy. They kind of don't realize how serious it can be. So that's why we don't have many vaccinated people in Georgia. About vaccination, we will talk about a bit later. But we are welcoming all the travelers from around the world, and we opened almost all our borders. So almost all the land borders are open. Only the border between Georgia and Azerbaijan is still closed. And this border issue caused many cancellations in 2021, so this year, because we had many groups, and so 3 country tours, and these Caucasus tours are very popular, but we could not receive our guests because of this issue, and we hope very much that the border will be opened in the next year, in the beginning of 2022, and we can organize our 3 country big Caucasus tours. So but our other land borders are already open, and as I already told you, all the travelers, non-vaccinated guests and vaccinated guests are allowed to enter the territory of Georgia. But the citizens of all countries traveling by land from any country may enter Georgia if they present the document confirming that they are fully vaccinated. So they have 2 doses and also negative PCR test results, which should be taken within the last 72 hours. Actually, also the vaccinated guests are obligated to have this PCR test, negative PCR tests. Citizens of all countries traveling by air from any country may enter the territory of Georgia if they present the document confirming the full course of any COVID vaccination. So we are accepting also Chinese vaccines, we are accepting the worldwide accepted vaccines, etc. So, and non-vaccinated visitors are also allowed to enter the territory of Georgia, but they have to have the negative PCR test taken within the 72 hours, and children under 12 are not obligated to have this PCR test. And on the 3rd day after arrival, they are obligated to get tested once again. So otherwise, they have to spend time in quarantine. So, and now we have this quite new rule. Individuals who have recovered from coronavirus during the last 100 days and were vaccinated with a single dose 40 days must be passed from the moment of the vaccination will be considered fully vaccinated, and the same regulations as for fully vaccinated people will apply for easier border crossing. So may we have the next slide? So now about the numbers, as I already mentioned, Georgians, like Armenians, also don't realize sometimes that COVID is a very serious thing. And we have approximately 30%, more than 30% of the population of Georgia is fully vaccinated. This vaccination rate is quite low. And we have approximately more than 4,000 daily cases, which is a quite high number. And we hope that the situation will get better soon. But now we have this situation and the numbers are changing really on a daily basis. But these are the average numbers. So we have some sanitary measures and many restrictions that we had during this time, during this whole pandemic were lifted gradually. And now we have two main restrictions. So we have to maintain social distance almost everywhere in the public areas. And we are obligated to wear the face masks outdoors where at least 5 people. So like in the public areas, it's mandatory, but in the restaurants, in the cafes, it's not mandatory. We are not obligated to wear our masks. So from today on, from the December 1st, everyone, citizens and tourists, will be able to enter lots of facilities such as food facilities, cinemas, theaters, shopping malls, only with green passport. And then there is a question, where or when can I have this green passport? Everyone who is fully vaccinated, everyone who has taken a PCR test within the 72 hours or antigen test within the 22 hours, or someone who is recovered from COVID. These people can have these green passports and this green status. So in tourism, lots of people are already vaccinated, which is a very good news. Lots of drivers, lots of guides are fully vaccinated, and we only work with these kind of suppliers, so with the drivers and with the guides who are already fully vaccinated. And PCR tests are available everywhere in Georgia. We have hundreds of test centers in Tbilisi, but not only in Tbilisi, but also outside, also in the small towns. Everywhere it's possible to get tested. But in Tbilisi, we have some clinics, or we have some centers which are open 24 hours, which is very convenient and very practical for our guests. So we are hoping very much that we will have many guests in the next year, in 2022. So we will do our best to offer them the best services, and we hope also that the COVID situation will get better. So I will be glad to answer your questions in case you have some.
Dinadine, thank you so much for this update about Georgia. And we now come to question and answer section. And I do have already the first question for Greece. Ludovicos, are you still with us?
Of course, hello.
Perfect. There is one question about you need to do the rapid test only if you are picked by the authorities, correct? Not everybody needs to do that.
True. When you're arriving on the airport of Athens or any other international airport of Greece, you are picked up from a person in the authorities. And if you are the one that will be picked up, then you have to do the test. If you're not, you're just going through, they see your papers, you're out.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ludovicos. I have one more question for France. There was a question about the test, the PCR test for Germany and Austrians. You mentioned them separately. Do all of them need the PCR test, even if they are vaccinated, including the booster?
No, if they are not, if they are vaccinated, they do not need a PCR test.
Okay, so they just need to show the certificate.
Yes, of course, the sanitary pass.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Nina. I have one for Malta now. Kenneth, the dark red zone. Are there any European countries in the dark red zone?
No.
No.
No, absolutely not.
And CE as
basically,
well?
No. I mean, first of all, I mean, European Union countries, you know, are decision about that are being taken European-wise. So European Union countries, they all go together. And no, there are no European countries at all. And to be honest with you, I don't foresee that there will be any European countries
in the dark red zone.
Normally they are, you know, from let's say far away, far eastern or far southern countries, which are, as I said, I would very much appreciate, Petra, if you could maybe send the presentation, because if they click on the link of the health authorities showing which countries, there's also a list of these dark red countries.
Perfect.
And also there is very conveniently as well, yeah, there is
all
a
the
list of these dark red countries. All the information that I spoke about is really in a one list, really.
Yes,
and also very important, there is also the list of because I told you that in Malta you have to enter with a vaccine certificate.
Yes.
But there are so many vaccine certificates, so many from so many countries, including Iran and a lot of countries, but the vaccine certificates are actually accepted. So it's not very restrictive as one might get the impression.
Okay. Don't worry, Kenneth, we will share the complete webinar because this got recorded, and we also share the presentation. So everybody who was joining or was registered and was not able to join today will receive the whole presentation and the webinar again. Thank you very much, Kenneth. And I have one question for Sati and another one also for Tinatin. So Sati, are the guides and bus drivers are also vaccinated in Armenia?
Not all of them, but our magic requirement is that our guides and drivers, our suppliers who are our contracted employees, or the ones that are working with us on freelance basis but temporary contracts, they are the ones vaccinated. So this year, once we had the opportunity to host our few files and not very big group from Germany, we provided with the bus driver and the guide that were fully vaccinated.
Okay, so all clients traveling with Magic can be...
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much, Tati. And the last question is for Tinatin. The PCR test, you mentioned that you can get them everywhere. Do you know how much they are, or approximately?
How much they cost?
Yes.
So it costs exactly 60 lari, which is approximately 20 euros, one PCR test. So approximately.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I need to laugh now because Kenneth sent me a message. It was not a question. Yes, indeed, it's very nice to see you, Kenneth. So thank you so much to all of you. We are at the end of the STR Partner Live Destination Update Volume 2. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Tinatin. Thank you, Sati, Ludovicos, and Kenneth for being with us and giving us the updates about destinations, about your destinations. And as I mentioned before, we recorded the whole webinar, and we will send you the link for the recording and also the link for the presentations after the webinar by today or by tomorrow. I wish all of you all the best. Stay healthy, and I hope that we will see each other soon in person and not anymore on Zoom, although it's very nice to have you on the picture as well. Have a lovely day and stay healthy. Hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you, all of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.